Good evening and welcome to the Village Board meeting for the Village of Pleasantville. Today is Monday, July 14. If you are watching live on Monday, July 14, we encourage you to call in with comments or questions. The call-in number is 769-1677. Our next regular meeting is 2 weeks from today, Monday, July 28 at 8 p.m. with a work session at 7. As always, you can watch us live on Cablevision or Verizon Fios, cable TV, and you can also watch on PCTV76.org. Shortly after the meeting, the tape goes up on webcast at PCTV76.org, and you can watch an on-demand webcast. I had a couple of announcements to make, the first of which is we received a notice from Con Edison that they will be starting a project to replace gas mains on Church Street, starting around Monday, July 21, a project that will take about a month. And we'll dig up Church Street from Broadway up past the village line and into the town of Mount Pleasant. So I think most of the neighbors in that area have received a notification of that. Church Street is going to get chopped up and then blessedly paved thereafter.
That's
all
about
true?
Right. Yes, yes. And we just want to reiterate that the New York State Department of Transportation will be resurfacing Route 117. They've actually started on the northern end. They've been through the village marking out some of the catch basins and other things within utilities within the right-of-way, but we'll have a nice project completed there too by the end of summer.
Most of it will be night work.
Mostly accomplished at night. So, okay, great. This past Saturday was the 10th annual Pleasantville Music Festival. A good lineup of bands, a beautiful sunny day, and one of those days that puts a shine on the village of Pleasantville. Enormous thanks go to all of the people who were involved in organizing it. Chief among them, Saul Skolnick, who was the executive director. Lingering in the background, the recently retired co-executive director, Rich Sarfati, was there for the day as well and deserves a call out for his many, many years of service. And there were a zillion volunteers, so thanks to everybody from the village of Pleasantville who helped with all of that. It certainly was, as it has been in the past, a day that gives lots of people a good time and also leaves lots of people thinking Pleasantville's a pretty impressive place for a small village of this size to take on a project that was that ambitious. Thanks especially to Patty, who had a month of her life consumed by dealing with all of the requirements of pulling off the logistics, and thanks to Jeff Econom, standing there behind Patty trying to dry off from his effort fighting the rain. Our superintendent of public works, he and his crew acquitted themselves extraordinarily well, as they do every year. I can't count the number of people who commented on the efficient work and the good nature of everybody, and the fact that so many things were done before anybody asked of it, and most particularly the bands themselves, who are used to the hurly-burly of backstage. We're so impressed by all the work Public Works did. So pass on to your guys what a great day they pulled off, and it's very much appreciated. Likewise to the police department. They were great as well, and thanks to the county and the sheriff's department for providing us some backup as well. So a good time had by all. We'll now begin the post-mortem process about what was great and what could be better, and think about whether it makes sense to continue into year 11 for the Pleasantville Music Festival. Also wanted to mention, in case any of you may have not seen it, that the annual Best of Westchester issue has come out, and there are a whole long list of Pleasantville businesses that were listed on the Best of Westchester, including Farrow's Auto Service, Home Services Shop, the Pleasantville Farm Market, Glass Onion Originals, the Village Bookstore, Twin Jewelers, Jacob Burns Film Center, Try and Buy Toy Stores, Heller's Shoes, Academy of Dance Arts, Artistry Dance Project, a great showing for Pleasantville, voted by the magazine and also by the readers as Best of Westchester 2014. So
Farmers Market was in there.
yeah, I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but you can go to the Chamber of Commerce website, pleasantville.com, which is a worthwhile visit in any event, both to see more about that stuff and also to hear more about what the Chamber of Commerce is up to. Anybody else have any announcements to add to the mix. We met in work session before we began our regular session with some of the residents of Sutton Place. Anybody who might not have been aware of that, we've had an ongoing discussion about how to improve safety on Sutton Place, particularly focused on the issues at pickup time at BRS. Anybody who has any opinion on that ought to weigh in on the subject. We'll be continuing that discussion with mind toward thinking about whether changes are appropriate, and if so, enacting them in time for the new school year. So if anybody has any interest in that subject, you can check out our agendas and beware when it's on the agenda. Quick reminder, you can get the agendas automatically as well as other stuff by signing up for news at pleasantville-ny.gov. But you can also send an email to Patty Dwyer or to me. Our emails are both on the website with any comments you might have about that issue. All right, head to the resolutions. Oh, wait.
Rolling down. Okay. Resolve the pre-check register dated July 14, 2014 for fiscal year 2013 through 14 covering pre-check numbers 78205 through 78227 has been reviewed, and they are hereby approved as listed below, coming from the general fund, the water fund, the refuse fund, the pool fund, and the trust and agency fund, totaling $25,176.56. And further resolve that pre-check register dated July 14, 2014 for fiscal year 2014-15 covering electric check numbers 1532 through 1583 and pre-check numbers 78228 through 78354 have been reviewed, and they are hereby approved as listed below, coming from the general fund, the special purpose fund, the water fund, the refuse fund, and the pool fund, totaling $204,542.97.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions on the check register?
I have a quick question. So buried in here is an item for towing. I was just wondering,
Who got towed and where?
and for that amount of money, it's I think it's around $3,000.
I think, was that
Could
Linda?
that have been,
Was that Linda Belafato from your car on
Towing.
Oh, you.
Freeway?
could
Was she
have
your
been
car?
on the through?
Yeah, we got, Jeff's car got stuck on 287.
The old one? the old
Oh,
one
that's when
stayed.
it broke down, right?
Yeah.
It broke
Yeah,
down.
okay. All right, very good. Thanks.
Okay, all in favor of the check register?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved, 109.
But it's gone now. Good.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees has reviewed the minutes of the meetings held on Monday, June 23rd and July 11th, 2014, and they are hereby approved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any comments or corrections on the minutes?
I have a protocol question, I guess, on that. Is there if there is, minor tweaking that should be done to make sentences in those minutes more understandable, not changing or adding, but just cleaning it up, is that something that one does? Or do
Sure. You're welcome to do that, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Or not.
Or not. Is it-
But if you want to do it, you should do it now.
Well, I can't do it now. I mean, I'd have to go back and do it, so that would have
Okay.
to be
Going
pending
forward.
this. But going forward, I will.
Right.
All right, are they significant enough that you'd like to table this and make those modifications?
No.
Okay.
It's the editor in him. He
It
can't
is, I
help
can't
himself.
help
All
it.
right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes approved. Jonathan?
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the village administrator to sign the agreement with PCTV for fiscal year June 1st, 2014 through May 31st, 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the request from the Lions Club to use Parkway Field for their annual hole-in-one tournament on Saturday, July 26, 2014, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Said event is being sponsored by the Pleasantville Recreation Department.
Is there a second?
Second.
A great event, really a whole lot of fun.
Still got to do it,
I may
Patty.
try that this year.
We say that every year.
I know.
Swing away.
The Lions Club does a great job in organizing it, as they do in organizing so many
Bocce
other
and the
things.
horseshoes.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. So just put that on your calendar. Saturday, July 26th is the Lions Club hole-in-one tournament at Parkway Field.
Should be
112.
Resolved. That's me, right?
That's you?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposal letter from Frederick P. Clark Associates dated June 27, 2014, for planning advisory services for the fiscal year 2014-2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is, in essence, a retainer agreement that establishes the terms under which FP Clark will work for us, and their primary service to us is the work of Sarah Brown, who is the planning consultant for most subjects that the Planning Commission confronts. We have used Susan Favate of BFJ Planning for the specific project of Toll Brothers, which is before planning right now, but most of the day-to-day stuff is FP Clark, and this is just confirming the terms of their engagement.
Can we sign an agreement with someone else if we
Yes,
want to?
there
And
is.
also, because we've had discussions about this,
Yes.
about whether this, and so I'm a little bit surprised that this was here, just that, have we talked to our new building inspector, input from the different boards? Because I know there's been comments, certainly I don't have any specifically about what they thought about continuing this, because there have been some complaints.
Yeah,
Well-
the good thing about it, I think, Mayor, if you don't
Go
mind,
ahead, yeah.
it doesn't bind you to any hours or any particular
Okay.
assignments. It's as we go. So it sets a rate for auditing purposes. So when the auditors come in and ask, gee, why did you just pay that rate? And for what we can refer to the agreement that says this is their hourly rate. So,
But
to your
the
point.
thing is that
I feel like we
it
default
should
to
be,
it.
we do.
Yes.
And you're absolutely right, Colleen, because I've complained about this for 4 years. This should be an RFP. And we should get this bid competitively and see what's out there. And I agree with Colleen that there has been some comments, and every year this comes up, and we're like sitting here like,
Well, the problem is
it just means you're just approving that you're going on with your agreement.
But I don't think you would award anything to the lowest bidder for planning services anyway. I think.
It doesn't matter. It wouldn't be a
but-
lowest bidder thing. It would just be that you have a
But I have
comparative.
retainer rates from
Right.
retainer rates from BFJ.
Yeah, and-
I can get them from anybody who wants to give them to me.
I think what the, and I don't want to pick on just FP Clark, but I think it is part of our sort of discipline going forward. I don't know that you need to do it every year, because there's a certain value of having some continuity with your planner and with your legal
Right.
team and whatever. But I've never seen, I don't know what the word of it, but a bake-off for planning services or for, and I think for every 3 to 5 years, we should rotate and say, every 3 years, legal team, you got to come in. We're going to bring in 3 others, and we want to see what's out there. And you need to
It's
demonstrate.
an RFP. It's,
No,
No, what you would do is, excuse me, I'm sorry, but it'd be an
Here.
Sorry about that. An RFP is for a proposal. What you wanted to do is set out an RFQ. It's
You
send
do
it out
that,
the
right?
it's a request for qualifications, and that you would send it out. It's no money. You just get the qualifications from interested firms, and then you could look at it.
either way, there should be a public.
So- So let me just put a little background
Thank
to
you,
that.
Jeff.
First off, we obviously have no commitment to any firm, and this agreement does not bind us to use FB Clark's services at all, simply determines the terms under which we will operate when we do use them.
But it doesn't compel us to look at anybody else either.
Right, so.
And I don't think it compels our boards to either. I think
No,
it
no.
becomes by default
All right,
that
but
this
hear me
is
out.
who we've approved.
Hear me out. When we engaged the significant proposals that were before us for Benchmark and for Toll Brothers, we looked at a bunch of different planning firms in the end and chose to work with BFJ, which we have continued to do, and I think been very well pleased by their services. And Susan continues to represent the village at the Planning Commission for the Toll Brothers project. FP Clark has switched the professional planner who provides services to us, and I talk to Russ Klein, the chairman of the Planning Commission, on a fairly regular basis, and I think they are pleased with the results they get. That does not suggest that there isn't reason to consider changing, but let me also add that it is just at the moment, I think, worthwhile to maintain some continuity as Mike Testa departs after 30 years of service, and our new building inspector, who has arrived now and is working side by side with Mike for the next couple of weeks, gets his feet wet. He will no doubt have some comment as well about how this all works, and I'm totally open to revisiting any and all of it. But I do think that just for the moment, We have 2 planners inside the corral and are being pretty well served by them. And until the building department is up and running under its new leadership, I think we should probably leave things the way they are. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. My only point is that we should, as a board, just encourage every few years, put your professional outside services through a bit of a competitive process, just
That's fine, I agree.
just to keep them on their toes, and not that you're going to change, but you might change. I mean, that's
But I'm also concerned procedurally that the commissions wouldn't know how to say, well, you're not going to do this one, somebody else is going to do that. So I think we need to have a conversation with the planning board and the zoning board about, let's say a project comes down the pike and they don't want to use this, they'd rather use BFJ. Do they know procedurally how to do that? And how,
Well,
how that's
the
set
planning-
up? Because
the-
but it doesn't happen, Peter. It's not happening. We
plan-
determined the benchmark. They did.
And it is our call what planner we will supply to the planning commission. So, obviously, we want
No.
their input, and I get it on a fairly regular basis, but
No,
we
but what I'm
decide.
saying is right now we have 2 that we use, correct? But pretty much by default with the planning, they use Frederick P. Clark. So let's say that they want to use the other, procedurally, do they know how to do that?
I mean, they would have to come back and ask us whether we think that is appropriate.
We only picked BFJ because we were the lead agency.
No, I know.
Yeah, and so.
But if we're not the lead
But
agency.
we're not,
So
The
that's
way-
the
they
point
don't
I'm
have a
saying.
choice.
The way it's working right now
Correct.
is that items
I
other
don't
than
think,
toll
I
are
don't think
going to FP Clark.
procedurally, we all are on the same page as how that works. Because the only name I've ever seen, other than on Benchmark, is this name.
And that is true. FP Clark at the moment is representing the planning commission on all subjects except the one that we assigned to BFJ.
Right. But do they know how to, and do they know that they could use others if we had an agreement in place?
I'm more than happy to have a work session, and we should have a work session with the planning commission. I don't believe, and I can't speak for Russ for sure, that they have any interest, nor would it work very well procedurally, to have lots of items being represented, or say 3 or 4 or 5 different planners. I
I'm
think
not
that
saying 3 or 4, I'm talking other than one.
the more logical option is to consider whether we want to switch, as Jonathan suggested, through, or Mindy suggested, through an RFQ process to use a different one. But there are an awful lot of moving parts to this process, producing the resolutions, getting them filed, coordinating with the building department's office.
Yeah.
And so there are benefits to some.
Since
some
I've been on the
longevity.
board, which is 2.5 years, all I've heard is some issues that relate to this firm. And we've really not, other than the benchmark, have we brought somebody else in.
Okay, so what I can tell you is, I asked Russ this question within the last month, and he described them as pleased with the services they're getting from Sarah.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean we shouldn't continue the discussion, totally open to that.
That's
But-
only because Sarah is new to the other gentleman that they had, they don't.
well. I mean, in the interest of full transparency, I mean, they've always liked Frederick P.
Yes.
Clark. They've never had issues with them where we've heard issues with them
Well,
from
this would not be
outside people.
This
so
would not be the setting
No,
to have that discussion.
I agree. I'm just,
That
but I,
isn't entirely the case.
I'm just saying that. I mean,
All right.
it is a bigger conversation than what we can have right now.
Which I'm happy to have.
Yep.
However, do we have a second on this?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
all in favor of 112, the retainer agreement to FP Clark?
Aye.
I guess we have no choice, I mean,
We
we can't say no because it's the only thing we got, you know?
Well, it sets an auditing benchmark. It doesn't set a usage.
There is no commitment associated with this
You told me
to
this
do
last year
anything
too.
with them.
You told me the same thing last year and the year before, and I said those 2 years that I would like to see other companies request their services as well to see, compare them to FP Clark. That's all I asked for.
That's fine. All right, so what was the vote on that? Aye all across the board or not?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, 113.
Jonathan.
113.
No, 113 is the wrong number.
No, it's not.
112.
112 was FP Clark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
113, Fiscal Advisors.
Okay, totally, this would,
113, right.
113, right?
It's under the agreement.
That was a little bigger than.
Authorization to sign the agreement with Fiscal Advisors?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. The Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign an agreement with Fiscal Advisors for bonding services as per their agreement dated July 14, 2014.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so this falls into the same category.
It does.
Same
yes.
thing.
It is a retainer agreement that does not bind us to any services, but describes the terms if we use them.
I know a financial advisor would like to compete with that.
Then send them on. Send them our way.
You know,
I know one in particular.
Party
Am I
disclosure
conflicted out?
that You might need to
Oh,
work on.
Jonathan, I'm sorry. you
I'm
are.
just kidding.
Next
I'm
year,
kidding.
maybe.
I just thought I'd throw a little wrench into the
Do
works.
these
Don't
numbers
do
look
that.
normal to you?
Yeah, they look
They look pretty good.
really
Yeah.
quite normal.
All right?
Well, more normal than I would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'd be more expensive.
they are not expensive as these guys go. I don't think.
And I think they have served us well. Fair to say,
Oh,
Patty?
they're very good. Yes, they're very reliable. They're very, very accurate. So,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Now we had an additional 114. Steve?
I got it.
Oh, joy.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following budget amendments. So this is from transferring funds from various over-budget accounts into other categories. We have $55,000 to a variety of accounts, contingency, technology, equipment, ordnance. That is for tasers, not bullets, I believe,
I
right?
saw. Yes.
Police uniforms, leaf collection supplies and things like that. We also have a transfer to the pool fund for operating expenses over there, dealing with overtime, pool equipment, pool supplies, utilities, and maintenance, and then some other ancillary benefits associated with the personnel up at the pool for a total of $15,548. So the total for the first transfer is $55,672 from various over budget accounts, and then $15,548 from the general fund over to the pool fund.
I just wanted to add to that these are all closeout resolutions for the prior fiscal year.
Yeah, good.
So that should be included. The following budget amendments for the fiscal year ended May 31, 2014, right?
Yes.
Is the pool fund remind me again what the rules are. I didn't think we could transfer money from,
We can. The pool fund is
to
basically...
the pool fund, we're allowed to do
It's,
that.
it's under the umbrella of the
Got
general
it,
fund.
got it.
It's a
Okay.
sub-account, right?
There are some accounts you can't.
Yes,
Okay.
you can't do it through the water
All right,
fund
so
fund, you
was,
can't.
or the refuse.
is there a second on this?
Second.
Okay, comments or questions, aside from the ones already asked? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Okay, that being our last resolution, any new business, any comments from the public? Anyone want to call us in at 769-1677?
I have a shout out.
Uh-oh.
So, to the extent people don't know about it, the Appalachian Service Project folks from Pleasantville returned over the weekend. We sent 60
Oh, very
people
nice.
down to West Virginia again, and they did a lot of really, really good things. They had a fantastic trip, and by all accounts, this was the most successful one of these trips that they've had. Certainly a record number of attendees from Pleasantville went. We sent, I think it was 60, 59 or 60, 8 vans. And for those people who don't know what this is the Appalachian Service Project, which goes to fairly impoverished areas of the Appalachian area in Kentucky and West Virginia, and essentially makes homes drier, safer, warmer, and generally more stable in some ways. And they deliver a extremely necessary service to some folks that are really in dire need. So I just wanted to get that into the record. Congratulations to another good year for ASP.
Likewise, I saw a neighbor who was one of the adult leaders of that who had come back from the mission of building an 80-foot-long retaining wall.
Yes.
Which is heavier lifting, literally, than the normal project. So, but he was not only enthusiastic about the experience, but couldn't say enough good things about the way Pleasantville's kids had stepped up to the plate and participated willingly in hours and hours and hours of backbreaking work. So, makes one feel optimistic about the future.
Indeed.
As mentioned, our next regular meeting is Monday, July 28 at 8. Hope to see you then. Is there a motion to adjourn and go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.